everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Day's Podcast along with a new video. I am back. Thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, viewing, watching, and listening. I truly appreciate it. I know it's been a while, but I will be making sure there's more videos as we go, more episodes to listen to, and yeah, I thank you so much. We are going to continue with free content. Of course, there is going to be exclusives on Spotify and Patreon. So before anything, just know I'll be putting more on there. But we are going to talk about GoldenHeart by Dawn Richard. Let's get into it. GoldenHeart is the second studio album by American singer and songwriter Dawn Richard. So her first studio album, I believe, came out in 2005. And I haven't heard this album completely, but I will. But this second album, it's very reminiscent and very dear to me in a lot of ways at this time, because I was 18 at the time. I was really transitioning into adulthood in such a way, and very different way. A great way though. It was released on January 15, 2013 by Our Dawn Entertainment. So Our Dawn Entertainment is, I believe, her own record label. And why not? Independent. Now, I've talked about this, and I can say this now, in plenty of my videos now, where it's okay to be independent. It's okay to have your own streams, your own marketing, your own videos, your own way of doing things. It's okay to do it that way. Why not? Have your own website. Let people know you're going to be performing at different venues. You can do it yourself. Why not? There's a lot of people that go on Twitter and I'm not even Twitter, X now. There's a lot of people that go on X or Facebook or wherever, and they will, be like, oh, well, this could have been this way and this could have been that way. And it's like, all right, well, you do it. Because I'm not saying that I wouldn't not feel like I could be a great podcaster, but I'm doing it. There's people that be having a lot to say. Well, hey, you put on the camera, you talk, and you let people know how you feel. But besides the point, being independent, why not? After her group Dirty Money disbanded in 2012, Richard continued to develop her musical identity and worked with creative partner and manager Andrew Drewski Scott, who co-wrote GoldenHeart with her. It is the first in a trilogy of albums by Richard about love, loss, and redemption. So, this was something of a collective that she was embarking in, which I was here for, because you kind of say to yourself, well, shoot, why not put out as much music and as much that I would want people to be able to see and listen to as possible? Independently, over time, oh yes, when I have a true fan base, they gonna listen to me. GoldenHeart is an eccentric R&B album that draws on dream pop, alternative, and dance genres. Its mostly mid-tempo songs have strong grooves and feature synthesizers, string settings, vintage keyboards, and an array of percussive sounds. A post-breakup concept album. Richard's post-breakup concept album. So, Richard's songwriting poses relationships and personal subjects as epic tales through magical medieval imagery and allusions to high fantasy and science fiction tropes. If you ask me, I love how she did it. I love how she was able to give your mind a very there was just so many ways you can look into this album, and she did it so well. The album was released independently. Okay, they say that very much bold. Independently. Independent music is a broad music style categorized by creative freedoms, low budgets, and a do-it-yourself approach to music creation, which originated from the liberties afforded by independent record labels. It's real. You can do it yourself, okay? By Richard and promoted with the lead single 86. It debuted at 137 on the Billboard 200 chart and sold 3,000 copies in its first week. Now, for her to chart independently, now mind you, this is in a time where people are not really buying albums. 2013, people were still not buying albums like that. They were streaming slowly, whether it was from YouTube and you know, Spotify and Apple Music was approaching, if not was there too, or emerging. But no, like it really was hard for people to really sell in this decade. In the 2010s, it was serious because people were still trying to figure out what musically they were going to go next in their journey. But she had a full map, okay? Whether she knows or not, she had a full map, and we was ready. Well, at least I was. Upon its release, GoldenHeart received universal acclaim from music critics who praised its grand musical scope and Richard's theatrical personality. Okay? So, during stints in different musical groups, Dawn wanted to develop her musical identity and pursue a solo recording career. Like, she wanted to go solo. She already had an album. She had her first album in the midst of being in Danity Kane. So it's not so much that she didn't have an idea or a sense of how she can be solo. And why not? You know, it's not easy being in a group. No. In 2011, Richard was promoting the album Last Train to Paris, 2010, as a member of Sean Combs' musical project Diddy Dirty Money, and released a free mixtape, The Prelude, A Telltale Heart, which registered 1 million downloads within a month. After the group disbanded in 2012, she worked with producer, manager, and creative partner Andrew Drewski Scott and released her EP Armor On, which sold 30,000 copies. Okay, now Armor On, now that EP, if you haven't heard that EP, listen to that EP, and we can talk about that EP too. I just know that you guys, as well as I do, love to talk about albums. So I will be making more videos and episodes where we do talk about EPs because they're important too. They tell stories and they kind of branch into what the album's going to bring us. So I will make sure of that. Richard also marketed herself through social media and self-funded music videos on YouTube. GoldenHeart is the first release in a trilogy of albums by Richard about love, loss, and redemption, which we talked about. Yes, but Armor On is the first EP and second major release by American recording artist Dawn Richard. As a solo act. Dawn Richard is best known for being part of Diddy Dirty Money and Danity Kane. The album and track listing for Armor On was revealed on March 7, 2012. So, as you can see, you know, it branches, EPs branch you into what is to come. And for her to already, by March of 2012, let people know, like, listen, I'm about to have an EP out. Okay, she was ready. But yes, euphoric house climaxes, electro house, and European dance pop, two-step dance music where it's there's urban contemporary sound, of course sampling the sense of with 80s pop, where it's like Prince and Phil Collins, Genesis, Cyndi Lauper, and Peter Gabriel. Alternative is what the route of what this alternative R&B is what I was pretty much getting to, is what this album was and is. Contemporary R&B as well. It definitely was letting people know that she was going into a route that no one was expecting, in a great way. In the lyrics speak to you in different ways as well. They tell different stories in each song. Imagination and dreams is pretty much, there's just all these different types of themes that she talks about and reels you into mysticism. Okay. But yeah, she as far as with marketing and sales, originally intended for release on October 2012, Richard delayed GoldenHeart's release after signing a distribution deal with independent company Altavo's Distribution, which would release physical copies to retailers and provide a wider marketing reach. The album's lead single, 86, was released as a digital single, digital download on September 26th. So, it's been about 11 years. 12, I should say. Northern Lights was released as the next single on April 8th, 2013. And that's actually a good, GoldenHeart was released in the United States on January 15, 2013. Richard released the album independently as she felt record labels were taking a bit longer than we want. It sold 3,000 copies in its first week and debuted at number 137 on the Billboard 200 and number 2 on the top Heat Seekers albums and number 68 on the top R&B hip hop albums. The album also reached the top of the iTunes R&B chart, which prompted music retailer FYE to preemptively release its physical CD. Wow. It reached the top of the iTunes R&B chart, which made them feel as though they need to be physicals, okay? Legendary. Was met with widespread acclaim from critics, some of whom hailed Richard as one of the best new acts in pop and R&B. She got an 81 out of 100, and I've talked about other albums where it was 69 or 61, like 72, I think, but usually there'd be albums that be good and they be ranking them low, but she got ranked high, okay? But yes, let's look at the track list. But as far as just review scores, mostly good reviews. So track 1 is Intro and The Hearts Tonight. Track 2 is Return of a Queen. Now that's a great song. The first track is a great song too. Track 3 is Goliath. Track 4 is Riot. So by track 4, I'm Slade. Riot is not always a favored song, but I love Riot. It's not a bad song. Goliath is a great song. Glow is a great song, which is track 5. Track 6 is Pretty Wicked Things. Now that's slept on. Track 7 is Northern Lights. Now that is slept on too. I love Northern Lights. That's a great song. Track 8, Frequency. Great song. I think that it's very sensual. It brings you into just a very calm, you know, very calm ride, and I love that. Track 9, Warfare. Now, that was a very much confessional, I believe, could be, possibly. Just her just being over just the sake of why someone or anyone would be mistreating her or them, whoever, it's not okay. Tug of War is pretty much the opposite. Which is track 10. That's pretty much her just being more assertive and she want what she want. Okay. Track 11, OD to You. That's one of her most vocal songs that I've ever heard her sing in ballads. Even though by the end of the album there's just ballads there too, but this was definitely and still is a great song. Track 12, 86, great song. Track 13, In Your Eyes, that's a good song, great song. Track 14, Break of Dawn, yes, and it's 6 minutes long, and I think again that a lot of times when artists are making songs and they are long, okay, whatever's going on, be careful out there. But yeah, track 15 is 300, and see, even with, like I said, with Break of Dawn as opposed to 300, she's showing more of, vocal ranges and vocal riffs, and I love that. And then there's track 16, Golden Heart, which, yes, same thing. And that song is definitely slept on. And it really, at that time for me, was like, oh my God, there has to be more, there's got to be more, and there was more in another year or so. But it's just at the time, it really, I feel like, not even just at this time, but just in general, like, when music leaves you in a sense where it's like, wow, where's more? There gotta be more. And thankfully she made more. But there's a lot of other artists that didn't always get to make more music, and we gotta truly appreciate the artists that are out there, definitely. But I thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and I will definitely be back with more.